aJunctionMalfunction here today, and this time I have a compilation video of various Roblox videos, clips, and pictures from roughly 2018 to 2020. I've compiled them all for your viewing pleasure. There'll be audio commentary, some throwbacks, some cameo appearances, and just some general information about my experience with Roblox and the Thomas community. This is the first part out of 2 parts, so I hope you all enjoy. So we begin our story in 2018 with, unless you were around during the time, you wouldn't know this game currently since I believe it's not public anymore, but it used to be called Work in Progress Railway. And it wasn't Thomas themed, but it had Thomas characters in it, and it was like a British Railways styled sort of game with countryside, seaside, and other aspects in it. And it was just a really well-made Roblox train game for the time, which was open world, super expansive, and just generally just really nice to play with. As you can see here in the screenshots, you can see shenanigans happening in the sky, and then you probably see some screenshots of diesel engines too at the station. It was just a really fun game to play, but unfortunately, the developer stopped updating it around 2019, and they used to have a Twitter account, but it got deactivated or banned, I think, one of the two, so they aren't around anymore. Anyway, here's some footage from Diesel D19's live streams from 2018, a short snippet at least, when he played the game.
Love the jack-o'-lantern, by the way. A huge amount of effort's been put into this. He's really updated it. I just need to try and find an engine though, and this is not really working, so I'm just going to reset my character and see if I respawn somewhere else. So yeah, I was thinking about going to VidCon.
So that had been a clip from Diesel D19's live streams from 2018 when he played Work in Progress Railway, which now, the footage you're seeing now, is something which I had recorded around 2018. I want to say it's around from November. And as you can see, it's the diesel, one of the diesel engines in the game, pulling coaches around, and it'll be going quickly around the points and everything. And one of the cool things about this game was that, like, it was very well detailed and produced, and there was a lot to do in this game. I'm sure you saw in the clip previously, there was like a blimp you could fly, there was road networks, the stations had lighting at night, like, it was quite advanced for the time. It was like one of the first like truly detailed Roblox games for the time, which not really Thomas related, but most certainly train related at the very least. And so, yeah, there'll be a second one of this where I basically do the same thing, where I get a diesel engine, about 2 or so coaches, and I reverse it very quickly down the line, since that was one of my favorite things, which is going very quickly down the line, since the coaches would weigh down the diesel engine so you wouldn't crash, and the diesel engine in that game, for whatever reason, could go like ridiculously fast at the time, like several hundreds of miles per hour, like jet engine levels of speeds. Legitimately insane, and it was just fun to mess about, as I mentioned previously, but unfortunately there's not a lot to be done about that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed some of that footage, and shortly soon after is the second clip of footage from another time I did something similar. So this is the second take I mentioned, not second take, but the second video I mentioned, where it talks about Work in Progress Railway. And in this video clip you can see where I do the same diesel task run, where it's from the shed depot to where eventually I'll get to the bridge that leads to another side of the map. And this attempt was successful, almost minus for the fact that eventually I end up crashing at the end. But I thought I'd show this take, as this is what I would do successfully, and usually it would result in a humorous crash such as this. But this is all the pics and clips I have from 2018. It isn't too much, but it's quite a bit. And, well, after this, we're going to move on to material from 2019 and 2020, which is far more numerous in the amount I have to cover. So, yeah, moving on with that. And here we can see a screenshot of Somewhere Wales, which dates to about January of 2019, so very early on in Somewhere Wales' development. And another game that was being developed, this was a few months later during the springtime, around March or so, but there you can see a Gordon face on the ground, and it was basically just a wooden railway game, and yeah, it was basically just Ellsworth Station, and there's a few models, and that was about it, really. And one of the things you could do, it wasn't a very large game, that I knew the developer at the time, I still might, if he's still active, but anyway, he had bigger plans for the game, but never really went anywhere. As far as I know, I haven't really kept up with like one railway side of Roblox community, but as you just saw, it went off the edge. This is me playing Cool Beans Railway, I believe first or second, one of the earlier ones. Emily can't fit through, and then here is a Roblox game which I had started developing in 2019. It's when I took an interest in Roblox itself. And in a few moments here, you'll see DieselD19 actually try it out, and here's his thoughts on it.
Let's do Thomas and Friends Racing first. The Junction Malfunctions game. Everyone's sending me games. We'll do Natural Disaster Survival. Don't worry, we still got like 50 minutes. Which games did you send me, Jonah? Oh, which game got updated recently? We haven't played Work in Progress Railway for a while. Alright. Well, this is a racing game. I don't know if it's a Thomas and Friends racing game. Get out of the way. It's my car. Oh man. Oh, what? Man, this is almost as great handling as that Terrence game, you know, Terrence Racing. Why did I kick you? Because you get standing in front of my engine, my dude. But yeah, I know you were nice to me. Riley, you should, Robbie, you should unban Brennan, dude, boy. But yeah, don't stand in front of the engine while I'm trying to move it. That's super annoying. I mean, I like that you've taken advantage of the terrain function. Definitely need some sound effects here. We also need some like Mario music. No, don't put Mario music in, I'll get copyright claimed. We do need... Do these trees come with Roblox? Are they like default trees? Man, I can't turn. It won't let me turn. Oh, here's the characters. Here we go. Man, I have so much speed on me. Not enough speed to jump into Thomas's cab, apparently. Here we go. And Thomas has 0 speed. Ugh. Good evening, Daniel. Must be late for you. Daniel B, that is. Alright, well, I cannot get Thomas to go. Like, is it a case that there are 2 seats and I'm in the wrong one? No, it just doesn't go. We'll give Percy a go. What's the deal, Junction Malfunction? Are you even in the stream still? Oh wait, Percy does move. But only very slightly. Looks like we need to change some of the settings in this game.
So as you can see, I had a long way to go in terms of developing Roblox, my own models, and being on development teams and whatnot, but here are some screenshots of, I believe, Tomy Testing Ground? It was on the earlier Tomy testing games, and there you can see a ridiculously long line of express coaches with Henry, and there's, I believe, Gordon or Edward, can't quite tell, but again, a super long break of coaches. Of course, but next up, here's the 2020 stuff. Since there wasn't too much 2019 stuff, but there's a fair bit more 2020 stuff given everyone was home during, well, you all know the reasons why. No need to state the obvious. There's the Jamus Trains and Soda 1955 game, which I played a fair bit since I believe that was new. That was, ooh, I can't remember which, but I thought it was funny. This was when I was hanging out with a few friends, just antics and Cool Beans Railway Scarlowy game. Again, more Cool Beans Railway stuff, Daisy, and then, yeah, there's James being shocked at George being on fire. Just shenanigans and general stuff. Again, somewhere Wales, around this time I got some big updates. You can see me testing out the new, like, just new areas to explore in the game. The car, that was new at the time, I believe. And here is something interesting. This was my attempt at the time to scale Roblox, and not Roblox, but Sodor accurately into Roblox to an accurate scale. It never really went anywhere, but I still have the Roblox files, so I might upload public since it was like the first attempt to my knowledge of Sodor being scaled correctly. And here are some screenshots of, you might recall, Alan's Island Zone for anyone around this time. And there's some footage of Thomas spinning around with Annie and Clarabelle after derailing somehow. Goodness knows why or how, but I thought it was slightly funny, so I recorded it. So yeah, that's about it really for Alvin's Island Zone. Although that being said, here is some footage for James and the coaches. So yeah, that basically contradicts what I said earlier about that being the rest of the footage for Alvin's Island Zone, since clearly you can see James and the coaches. For that matter, quite a lot of coaches too. Again, that's a thing in Roblox. Like, if you're unfamiliar with Roblox is like a platform, particularly the train games in particular, it was, I guess this might be a common thing throughout, but just to get a long line of coaches or rolling stock or just some sort of something into a long line or just a lot of, and you try and make it work in the game. And the reason I jumped out of the cab here was to try and figure out, oh, why is James not moving, and yada yada yada. And in an instance, you'll see where I was successful in getting James to run off the map. And these did an interesting thing of being able to chuff along the ground. But anyway, James goes diving off with how many other coaches there are. I think there's at least maybe 40, 30, somewhere between there. It might be, I don't know, for some reason my mind's telling me 40, but something's telling me it looks 40, but it's more like 30. But yeah, there they all go off into the abyss below. And yeah, I somehow died too. I'm not quite sure how, but that happened. So yeah, that was a thing to do in the game. And here's a screenshot of Daisy derailed. And here's some more footage of Cool Beans Railway 3, where here I'm a runaway with a bunch of tankers and a brake van. So I don't remember which engine, probably diesel or something. I think Dennis spawned at Wellsworth, and this is when, oh no, this wouldn't be Cool Beans Railway 3. This would have been Take on Sodor, the mainline extension. So yeah, and this would have been during when Edward's branch was a part of the game, and before all the controversy with Michael. So yeah, just takes you back really to the time, and you can, and even back then, this wasn't the best Roblox game out there, but it was probably the only one which had a semi-detailed map of the main line that was based on the classic series, from roughly like Series 1 to Series 7, you know, that classic era sort of thing. So it was unique for the time in a sense, but it has not aged well. Even then, a lot of scenery missing and whatnot. And here you can just see me doing another attempt, and obviously my whole intent with doing Runaway Goods Train was, oh, can I crash into an engine, another player, cause a funny thing to happen in the game, which I don't think ever happened. Which, boo-hoo, oh well, so sad, so sad. But I think it's funny too how the not gravity, but I guess physics almost. I guess a bit of both. Gravity's physics. Physics 101. But anyway, you can see how it's very laggy, and then all of a sudden speeds up, and it lags a bit. Of course, I'm sure it has to do with the performance of the computer or whatnot. And there was me trying to derail Stephanie. I was not always the best player. I was obviously in chaotic mood sometimes just to cause a bit of chaos, since honestly, it was a bit boring to play sometimes. If there wasn't a whole lot of players or an activity going on, it could be a bit boring. And here you can see what I was developing in 2020, and I still have plans for this to release. It's a birdie racing game where it stars Birdie instead of the famous Terrence racing game, so I have worked on this incrementally over years, and I hope to get it released one of these days. But here is some footage taken on the Island of Sodor game with Emily and the coaches. And there isn't too much to say, although it is a bit comical, so I will shut up and be quiet and just overlay some sound effects and music, and you'll be able to see how disastrous Emily's run with the coaches goes. And of course, we can see Emily has crashed in spectacular fashion, but that was on the island, the Sonor game. Yes, Sonor, as in Merlin pronounces it in Journey Beyond Sodor. Here's a couple of screenshots from me playing the game. These are from around December, so this was the very end of 2020. Again, the coaches crash into Henry's tunnel and just general shenanigans of Henry and Gordon being derailed and yada yada yada. But here are some screenshots of me actually creating models. So this is Dryout Station / Elsbridge Bus Depot from Series 1. Or not the Bus Depot, but, a little ticket office to get tickets. Knapford Station's Canopy, which is now out of date, but those two previous models you saw, those are I still consider those very up to date and up to snuff since they're accurate proportion-wise and color-wise. But they do need some texture updates. But as for Knapford Station, it's unfortunately grown very out of date due to the lack of reference material that was available at the time. Like, none of the Series 8 reference photos had leaked it by that point, so it's very out of date. But I want to thank you all for watching part 1, and there'll be a part 2 discussing stuff from 2021 to 2023. So again, thank you all for watching.